The strangest part is not that your baby needs comfort. It's that sometimes comfort from anyone else barely counts. Someone else reaches out with loving arms, soft voice, good intentions, and your baby's whole body still resists. The cry gets sharper, the back arches, the hands reach past everyone else, as if the body already knows exactly what it is looking for. And that is the part that hurts in such a specific way, because it can make every handoff feel personal. If you want parenting insight that helps you read what babies mean before they have words, subscribe to Baby Cues Decoded. The issue is not that your baby needs comfort, it's that their body seems to know exactly whose comfort works. This is usually not preference in the shallow sense. Your baby is not usually choosing you because they are dramatic or spoiled or trying to control the room. Most of the time, what looks like only you is something deeper than that. It is not a baby making a statement about who they like best in an adult, social way. It is a baby reaching for the person whose presence their nervous system has learned to organize around most reliably. Because babies do not experience safety as an abstract idea. They do not sit there thinking, this adult is loving, this adult is trustworthy, this adult is emotionally available. They feel safety through patterns, a voice they know, a smell they know, a way of being held, a rhythm of response, a familiar sequence of comfort that the body has already learned how to use. 0 to 3 describes this beautifully through the idea of co-regulation. In infancy, self-regulation is still developing, so babies rely heavily on responsive relationships to help them feel safe, calm, and understood. UNICEF makes a similar point in its early childhood caregiving, emphasizing responsive caregiving and a sense of security as part of healthy development. While Healthy Children notes that babies themselves show caregivers how they like to be treated, talked to, held, and comforted. So when your baby seems to want only you, they may not be choosing a person as much as choosing the pattern their body trusts most. That trust usually gets built in ordinary moments, not dramatic ones. In the feedings when they were hungry and you came close. In the nights when they startled and you were the one who picked them up. In the tired afternoons when their body unraveled and your body helped it come back together. In the little reunions after brief separations. In the repeated sequence of distress, response, and relief. That is how one caregiver often becomes the most powerful route back to regulation. Your baby has learned your particular pattern, your smell, your pacing, the way your chest feels, the way your arms close around them, the speed of your response, the particular voice that arrives when they are overwhelmed. And even loving adults do not feel identical to a baby. That is why the same child can cry harder in one person's arms and soften faster in another's, even when both people are kind and trying. It is also why this can happen with mom, dad, or any consistent primary caregiver. Healthy Children notes that when babies are cared for by the same few trusted people, they learn to expect and enjoy those caregivers' company and kindness. And the AAP's Healthy Children guidance also emphasizes that babies show adults how they like to be held, talked to, and comforted. Harvard's Serve and Return framework strengthens the larger point. Repeated, responsive, back-and-forth interactions help build the neural connections that support communication, social connection, and early trust. So no, this is not always about you doing something magical. Often, it is something quieter than that. Safety becomes believable to a baby through repetition, and repetition eventually becomes preference. This is also why the whole thing can suddenly feel more intense. A baby who used to tolerate handoffs more easily may begin protesting harder. A baby who once seemed fine with brief separation may suddenly cry as if the room has changed completely. And very often, that shift has a developmental reason. Toward the end of the 4 to 7 month period, babies begin developing object permanence, the understanding that something still exists even when it is out of sight. Healthy Children explains that this is a major cognitive change, and that by around 9 months, separation anxiety often becomes more robust, even though some babies show it earlier. CDC guidance also describes being shy, clingy, or fearful around strangers as a common 9-month social-emotional milestone. And emotionally, that changes everything. Because before this, your disappearance may have felt less sharply defined. But now, your baby begins to understand something new and painful. You still exist, but you are somewhere else. That can make absence feel bigger, not smaller. Development does not always make separation easier right away. Sometimes development makes separation harder first, because the baby is now reacting not just to discomfort in general, but to your absence specifically. Healthy Children puts this in very human terms when it notes that around this stage, babies become more clutchy about leaving you, as they begin to realize there is only one of you. The moment your baby understands that you still exist when you're gone is often the moment your absence starts feeling much bigger. This is also why the same baby can seem manageable 1 hour and desperate for you the next. Because your baby does not need the exact same amount of regulation all day long. For many babies, this need gets louder when the system is already thinner. At night, when overtired, when hungry, when sick, when overstimulated, or when moving through transitions. Healthy Children notes that separation anxiety can get worse when a baby is hungry, tired, or not feeling well. And it also explains that in the second half of the first year, separation anxiety can disrupt sleep, with some babies waking several times and crying anxiously for one or both parents while showing a strong preference for one. NHS guidance likewise describes separation anxiety as a normal part of development and notes that clinginess and distress around leaving can intensify during these stages. That is why handoffs often fail more dramatically at the end of the day. There is less margin then, less flexibility, less capacity to tolerate the wrong timing, the wrong arms, the wrong transition. Night can make this feel especially sharp. There is less distraction, less motion, less daylight noise to compete with the emotional truth underneath. And once the world gets quieter, attachment needs can feel louder. So if your baby suddenly seems far more attached in the dark, during illness, after a long day, or in the middle of a hard transition, that does not automatically mean something is going wrong. Often it means the nervous system has less room to adapt, and the baby is reaching more urgently for the route back to safety that feels most familiar. Your baby does not always need you more because something is wrong. Sometimes they need you more because their system has less margin. This is where so many parents become unnecessarily cruel to themselves. They see a baby who wants only them and think, I caused this. I made the baby too dependent. I should have handled this differently. Or worse, they start looking at the baby through the wrong lens entirely. Manipulative, spoiled, too attached, too much. But strong preference is not the same thing as unhealthy attachment. Healthy Children is very direct about this. Separation anxiety is a normal stage and even a beautiful sign of a meaningful attachment, not proof that something has gone wrong. NHS guidance says the same in broader terms, describing separation anxiety as a normal part of development, commonly showing up from around 6 months into the toddler years. CDC milestones also treat clinginess and stranger wariness as developmental clues, not diagnoses. That does not mean every clingy moment is attachment speaking. Sometimes your baby is simply hungry, or overtired, or uncomfortable, or coming down with something. And if distress feels unusually intense, keeps interfering with feeding, comes with lost skills, or leaves you with broader developmental concerns, that belongs in a conversation with your pediatrician. CDC notes that milestone checklists are not a substitute for screening tools, and CDC's mental health guidance also recommends talking with a healthcare provider when fear or distress feels persistent or extreme. A baby crying hardest for you is not always proof that something has gone wrong. Sometimes it is proof that the bond is emotionally real. What helps is usually not forcing independence in the middle of panic. What helps is making separation, return, and comfort easier for the baby's body to read over time. Start with your own state. Stay warm, not dramatic. Your calm does not have to be perfect, but it does matter. 0 to 3 describes co-regulation as what you do with a baby or toddler to help them feel safe, calm, and understood, and emphasizes that young children rely heavily on responsive relationships because self-regulation is still developing. Then make life more readable. Use the same phrase at goodbye, the same tone at bedtime, the same small rhythm when handing your baby to someone else. Harvard's serve and return framework helps explain why this matters. Repeated, responsive back-and-forth interactions help build and strengthen the brain circuits involved in communication, social connection, and emotional organization. UNICEF's early childhood guidance makes the same larger point in simpler terms. Young children need responsive caregiving and a sense of security, not just physical care alone. Keep goodbyes short and clear. Long, anxious exits often make the moment heavier, not gentler. Healthy Children recommends a loving, consistent approach to separation anxiety, including staying calm and matter-of-fact rather than disappearing unpredictably or letting the goodbye become emotionally chaotic. It also notes that babies and young children are often more vulnerable to separation distress when tired, hungry, or sick. And let other caregivers build their own regulation map. They do not need to become a copy of you. They need repetition, steadiness, and enough time for the baby's body to learn them too. Do not treat every protest like a battle, and do not treat every hard handoff like misbehavior. Respond as if your baby is struggling, not plotting. Your job is not to prove your baby shouldn't need you. It's to help need become something the relationship can hold. So no, your baby's intense need for you is not always a sign that you have done something wrong. And it is not proof that your baby is trying to control you either. More often, it means something quieter and more human than that. Your presence has become one of the main ways their body finds its way back to safety. That is the deeper logic beneath responsive caregiving, co-regulation, and normal separation anxiety. Babies depend first so that security can be built from the outside in, through repeated experiences of being helped back into steadiness. This season can be exhausting, sometimes lonely, sometimes heavy in ways people do not see. But dependency is not the opposite of security in early life. It is one of the ways security begins. Your baby may not want only you because you've done something wrong. Your baby may want you because, to their body, you have become one of the clearest ways home feels safe.